Hey y'all, my name is Kayla and welcome to my cozy chaotic corner of the internet. In today's video, we are going to be replacing our phone screen time with reading time. Now, I have done this once before, actually probably about this time last year. And while I really enjoyed the experiment of replacing my phone screen time with my reading time, I got a little sloppy with it, one could say, because when I did that, I had like this rollover minutes thing that I had going on. Honestly, I believe that if the intent of this experiment is to truly be replacing your phone time with your reading time, then why would those minutes roll over? Does that make sense? So let's talk about the stats for my screen time last week. For today, our goal is to read for 5 hours and 36 minutes. Tomorrow, which is Monday, we will be reading for 4 hours and 10 minutes. Tuesday, we're shooting for 4 hours and 7 minutes, 4 hours and 23 minutes, 3 hours and 12 minutes for Thursday. For Friday, 3 hours and 32 minutes. And then for Saturday, we are wrapping up the week with a whopping 5 hours and 9 minutes. So I think these are all pretty manageable times, but today we are kicking things off with everyone in my family has killed someone. Now, this is actually a book that I have to start pretty much today and finish today because it is our book club pick for work and we are having our book club meeting tomorrow morning. So this has to be completed today. It's about a 9.5-hour audiobook. I'm already 3 chapters in, so we'll see. Also, typically I listen to audiobooks depending on the narrator at 1.5 or 1.75. Honestly, I read faster than that, but it's really hard to actually understand and comprehend what the narrator is saying at anything faster than a 2, unless again they're like a super slow reader. Okay, y'all, for the first time in my life, I will be using the stopwatch on my Garmin to track our time. And just a reminder for myself and for you, today we are trying to get to 5 hours and 36 minutes. So let's get cracking. Only 3 years? Okay, we are just shy of an hour and 15 minutes into today's reading. It's going by super fast. I'm about to start chapter 15 of Everyone in My Family Has Killed Someone, and I'm really enjoying it. It's interesting because it's giving the same vibes as West Heart Kill, which, if you do not know, was one of the worst books I read last year. So it's interesting that I'm actually really enjoying this one. And I think the reason I'm really enjoying this one versus my feelings about West Heart Kill is because West Heart Kill had the fourth wall break a lot, which is what this is having. However, the narrator of West Heart Kill was just that. It was just a narrator, whereas our narrator in Everyone in My Family Has Killed Someone is an active participant in the story. His name is Ernest Cunningham, and he's telling us the story of his family, and shit just got really crazy. A long story short, Ernest's brother, Michael, went to jail for killing a man. And it's like an interesting situation where, yes, he killed the man, but the man was already shot and was already perceived dead. And he just finished the job, I guess one can say, because some sort of legality in Australia, he was able to only go to jail for 3 years versus a longer sentence. And now they are back at like some ski resort having a family reunion. And this family reunion is around the time that Michael is getting out of prison. So they're all seeing him for the first time. Because I guess one of his requests was like, he didn't want to see anyone, but he would like email and call. Like he was in communication, but he just didn't want to see anyone in person, which was interesting. However, they're at the ski resort and a body is found the same morning that Michael is coming to the ski resort. Also, there's some shady business going on with Michael. Like, I kind of want to like Michael's character, but also I don't like Michael's character for a very specific reason. And I'm just gonna leave it at that. I'm gonna take a little break. How I feel about this. Interesting. A little sunny out. My sunglasses out here? No, they're not. My break ended up being a little longer than I had anticipated. It's currently 1:30, and I think I had stopped around 11, maybe 11:30 at the latest. My eye is so watery right now. I'm about to get started again. We only have an hour and 14 minutes in. Oh my god, my eyes are so watery. I'm gonna go inside, I'm gonna wash my face and clear out my eyeballs. And I kind of want to keep chilling outside because there's a nice breeze outside, whereas inside there's no breeze. Or I might relocate to my bed. I'm sure I look so ridiculous with my eyes closed right now. But yeah, we're about to start cracking away. And I am really optimistic that we're going to get the 5 hours and 36 minutes knocked out of the park today. And hopefully in that time, I can also finish this blanket because I have a few more rounds to go. Not finish it, but have like a bulk of it done. Finishing it does require a trip to the yarn store. The cutest thing ever. Okay, so I wanted to highlight this because I'm like, oh my god, that's so interesting. In chapter 21, beginning of chapter 21, Ernest notes, I thought if one more anecdote delayed my reunion with Michael in the drawing room, you might have thrown a book at the wall. But in the audiobook version, it said you may have ripped your headphones off and thrown your devices against the wall. That is such a cute little like switch up, specifically the audiobook narration. I'm so intrigued if like other books do that. Anyways, I loved it so much I wanted to highlight it in my Kindle, and then I looked at my Kindle and I was looking for audiobook and I was like, where is it? It's not here. And then I realized the difference. Okay, y'all, I have just over an hour and 9 minutes, roughly an hour and 10 minutes left to hit today's goal. And I have, at the rate I am listening to the audiobook, I have an hour and a half left of Everyone in My Family Has Killed Someone. So, planning on finishing this book today, which means we will exceed our goal of 5 hours and 36 minutes. Also, this book so far, I keep going back and forth. Like, I'm enjoying the ride, I'm enjoying the characters, but am I enjoying the storytelling technique? To be determined. Also, though, there was one section where I highlighted it, I made a note of it in my book back in like chapter 28, 26, somewhere towards the end of the 20s, after someone was found dead. and it said that everyone in the room were not suspects but survivors, but in that room there were 2 people missing. Not both of them necessarily have like good cases built up against why they would have killed this person. One of them, it makes sense why they would have killed that person. The other one, I'm just suspicious of this other person. And they're kind of, I don't know, I'm curious if anyone else would have been suspicious of this certain character, because they aren't heavily intertwined with the family at all. Like, they have no connection to the Cunningham family, but they are intertwined in what's going on at the ski resort. Oh, there was another section where Ernie, who is our narrator, main character dude, actually, he keeps saying he's not the main character. He's like, just because I'm telling the story doesn't mean I'm the main character. So that's interesting. He said that some of the names have been changed, but then he also said, like, you know how sometimes you can take a name and then switch up the letters to spell something out? He said that everyone's name in this book you can do that with, and that you would find a very obvious clue to what's going on in one of the names. And a part of me wants to like try and solve that puzzle, but then another part of me just wants to wait until I'm done with the book and see what happens, and maybe he'll tell us later on in the book. 1 hour and 10 minutes left to hit our goal, 1 hour and a half to finish the book. So let's get cracking. I'm trying to spill this on you, Jinkies. It is Monday, and today we have 4 hours and 10 minutes of reading to do. The one thing that is actually nice about not only achieving yesterday's goal, but surpassing it, is that yesterday was actually the longest day out of the week when it comes to screen time. I'm feeling optimistic for now. I finished Everyone in My Family Has Killed Someone. Great book, by the way. Oh my god, I had such a good time with it. I did ultimately end up rating it a 4.75. It would have been a 5-star, except I'm still like not 100% sure if I truly loved the narration style. However, I will say the narration style is what kept it entertaining. Like, it was a funny, entertaining book, even though it was about people dying, and it had a lot of pretty severe undertones. And I do want to read a couple other Benjamin Stevenson books, because he wrote Everyone on This Train is a Suspect, and then he also wrote like a little Christmas novella that I want to check out. That might be fun to read during the holiday season. What are we reading today? That is a great question. I do have the audiobook for Magic for Liars, and that is on my summer TBR, so I might just give that a whirl, check it out, see what it's about.
Mrs. Ware rounded the shelves into the poison section. She moved slowly, deliberately. She'd often told students that hurrying was a fool's errand.
Fun story, true story. Book club meeting is actually tomorrow. For some reason, I feel like I thought it was on the 2nd, but then also I was like, but maybe it's on the Tuesday. Also, Magic for Liars. Not 100% sure how I'm feeling about this one. I'm always never quite sure how I feel about audiobooks that are just audiobooks. Like, I do far more appreciate like the tandem read of like an audiobook with either like the physical book or the ebook. But so I didn't tell you guys what Magic for Liars is about. So Magic for Liars is about a woman who like lives in this world that we as humans exist in. And there's also a magical world, and her sister is magical, but she is not magical. So there's Ivy, who's not magical, and Tabitha, who is magical. Tabitha goes on to become a professor at a school for mages, and Ivy goes on to become a begrudged private investigator. And for some reason, I think it's mostly, no one said why exactly, she is hired by the school, specifically the headmaster, to investigate the murder of one of the teachers at the school. No one says why exactly Ivy in particular was chosen. Like, it could be because of her connection to Tabitha, but is it because of her connection to Tabitha? I don't know. Anyways, so a teacher was killed. Or not. The Ms., who is the National Mages Institute for something or other, suspicious activities, I don't know, but they call it the Ms. The Ms investigated the death of this teacher and said it was pretty much like, not necessarily suicide, but an accident, a magical accident, because they said like she was either probably trying to teleport or transform herself or something like that, and like magic went awry and she ended up herself. But the headmaster, she's like, no, that's not this person. This person wouldn't be messing around with that type of magic. That's just not her shtick. We're in a high school that feels very much like just a normal high school, just so it happens that they're teaching about magic. And it's interesting to be in this adult perspective, but in like such a juvenile setting. So I just don't know how I feel about it. Also, in this one, it has the same, not as crazy fourth wall breaks as Everyone in My Family Has Killed Someone had. Like, the narrator in that one, the narrator is literally talking to you, the reader. Whereas this one, it's just more first person, so it feels like they're talking to you, but they are never actually being like, hey, you, reader. If that makes sense.
Most of this book was really slow, because if I look at some of my all-time favorite books, they too are really slow.
Y'all, I cannot think. My brain is not thinking, so I need to find like a task, a mindless task to work on. I need to find mindless tasks to work on without like processing anything. I'm staring at my bookshelf right now. You guys are on my bookshelf right now. And I really kind of want to reorganize it. Like, I haven't reorganized it a million thousand times before. Recently, Gavin from Gavin Reads It All uploaded a video where he has way more bookshelves than I do, but he went through like every single individual shelf, and he was like, okay, this bookshelf I've read 2%, this bookshelf I've read 90%, and so on and so forth. And I really liked that concept. And I think it'd be fun to do like a little reading series that I am like, ooh, let me like try and finish a shelf. The way my shelves are currently laid out is a lot of my shelves are sitting at 0%, unless they're like the I have read section. So I don't know how I want to organize my bookshelves, but I want to organize them. So insert time lapse of Kayla rearranging her bookshelf. I decided to be semi-productive with work. Am I doing the project I'm supposed to be working on? No. I don't think my brain right now is working efficiently enough because what I'm working on right now requires me learning things and retaining things, and my brain's just not at that point in time. But I'm hopping on here to let you guys know I haven't touched my bookcases. They're exactly as they were when I talked to you guys 4 hours ago, actually, at this point. Hi, girls. Is he home? Is Peepaw home? He's home? just got another hour added to our time. We're chilling at a smooth 2 hours and 24 minutes. I'm not sure I'm feeling about this book. We're about a third of the way through the book, and we have majority of our character, their plot lines, not plot lines, but like character types are all set out. Oh, remember how I said I'm not sure how Tabitha knew to ask Ivy, not Tabitha, the headmaster, she asked for Ivy to come and investigate this murder. We know who recommended her, and it's Miss Webb, who is the headmaster's assistant, but was also the woman who found the body. But you know, I was really like, oh my god, she was the one who recommended her. But Ivy like completely glazed over that. Like, it was mentioned and she didn't like react to it at all. So I'm curious why there was no reaction. Also, I started reorganizing. I'm not sure how I'm feeling about it right now. I'm going for like the color-coded vibes, like kind of color-coded vibes, but I'm not sure. Yeah, so again, I'm not sure about Magic for Liars yet. We'll see. Ivy did, though, just start questioning the students, and there's one student in particular, his name's Dylan, and he has a stepsister named Alexandria, and Dylan is under the assumption that he's like the chosen one. And then Alexandria is kind of like the mean girl at the school. So yeah, we'll see where things go. Hey, what are you doing, baby girl? Your movements are always so just like staccato. Do you want a treat? Yeah, treat. Good job. Oh my gosh, y'all. First and foremost, can you see it? Is it turning on? Is it showing you? We're at 3 hours and 58 minutes. We are totally crushing today's goal. I don't know if I want to go over though, because I'm kind of like getting bored of this book. So I think once we hit our 4 hour and 10 minute mark, I'm definitely just gonna like set it down for the night and do something else. But I just saw that Penn Badgley is narrating Simon & Schuster's audiobook of Fahrenheit 451. I haven't read that book in a while. We may be hopping into Fahrenheit 451 this week. We'll see. I don't know about you guys, but I actually really love the timbre of Penn Badgley's voice. There's something about it. It has like just enough vocal fry, and it's just deep enough without being ridiculous, if you know what I mean. Yeah, we might finish Magic for Liars and then hop into Fahrenheit 451 unexpectedly. Didn't see that one coming. Didn't see that one popping up on this week's radar. I just had like the weirdest thought, and this is super off topic, but not quite off topic because I literally just mentioned it, about Penn Badgley having like just enough of like a little bit of vocal fry. And I realized that you never really hear about men's voices having vocal fry, because when you think vocal fry, you think, oh my god, like, oh my, so totally like a woman. You think a woman when you think vocal fry, but a man who has vocal fry, you would say his voice is gravelly. And how in the absolute audacity? You know what? I would rather, here's what we gotta do, okay, people? Either we start saying men have vocal fry because they motherfucking have vocal fry, or we start saying that women's voices are gravelly. Pick one. I wouldn't mind I wouldn't mind if someone said my voice sounded gravelly, because personally, I've always felt like I've had a lower tone, mostly because I've always had some form of vocal fry. It's gotten more prominent over the years, I'll admit it, but I personally have always had not a deep voice, but it's down there. It's in a lower register. That is my 10 talk. Let's start saying men have vocal fry, or start saying women have gravelly voices. Ugh, y'all, the drama of it all. Let me tell you, someone in my apartment building made sauerkraut, and so now the entire hallway smells like sauerkraut. But not only that, my apartment smells like sauerkraut. Oh, I don't mind. Ooh, a bunny. I don't mind the smell of sauerkraut, but like I want to choose that in my life. I don't want it thrusted upon my nasal cavities. So that's devastating. But enough about that. Y'all, I'm not gonna lie, I'm not really feeling pulled to continue on with Magic for Liars. I'm at like the 65, almost 70% mark of the book. And it is starting to pick up speed a little bit. There's this one teacher, his name is Raoul, and he may or may not be Miss Ivy's love interest in this book. They just went on a date, had a little hot and heavy makeout sesh. I don't know, something from the jump, I'm like, there's something suspicious about Raoul. I kind of want to stick it out just to see if that suspicion carries on. Like, he's almost too nice, you know? He's almost too good. But yeah, I don't know. I'm not feeling like I could easily set down Magic for Liars and really never think about it again. And a part of me just wants to listen to Penn Badgley all day because it's raining outside. And I don't know, that just seems like the vibe. Also though, with the rain did come the smoke from the Canadian wildfires, which is unfortunate. Walked outside today and you just got like punched in the nose with the smell of smoke. Anyways, today we have 4 hours and 7 minutes to read, which is pretty much the same amount that we had yesterday with 4 hours and 10 minutes. So I definitely think it's manageable. I'm gonna go make coffee and decide what book I want to listen to. Oh my god, y'all. I really enjoy talking about books. Just finished book club and it was a really good conversation. I'm always actually really intrigued. This one was fun. Okay, hold on, rewind, freeze. This one was really fun because it's so interesting to see how other people experience murder mystery whodunits, especially because that's a genre that I heavily read. The rest of the people on the conversation, that's a genre they don't typically dip their toes in. So it was just really fun to kind of see how their experience was with it versus my personal experience. Lots of great thoughts, opinions, ideas about who the killer was. It was also interesting that certain people noticed certain key elements where I didn't notice certain key elements. So it's just interesting to see who catches onto what, like what catches whose eyes. I kind of want to like start specifically a whodunit book club. I don't know. Okay, so like side note, but also not side note because it's kind of in the same vein. I am building a PC. I'm currently ordering all the parts. And the main reason I am building a PC is because I've been kicking it with a 2016 MacBook Air for the past almost decade now. Everything I do is on that. And you know, I can just tell. I can tell he's starting to like tucker out. Getting a little tired of my bullshit. Getting a little tired of building videos all the time. And also, if you don't know, I used to stream on Twitch like 2 years ago. I streamed on Twitch pretty consistently, actually. I stopped because I was just running into so many issues, specifically because my computer just couldn't really handle that sort of workload of live streaming. And also, like, if I wanted to have anything fun or crazy happening, my computer just couldn't handle it. So that was kind of like the one thing that pushed me in the direction of specifically wanting to get a new computer. But honestly, I was debating on getting like the Mac desktop. Those things are astronomically expensive for no reason. No reason. Like, I'm about to build my own custom PC that for the most part has every component that I want. If I change my mind, I can switch out the certain component to get something new, upgrade it. I can, you know, just finagle with this thing. And the PC I specifically am building is going to be roughly around $3,000. That's like a down payment on a Mac. I don't know. I'm just really excited to build a PC. And with that will come streaming again, live streaming. And so looping this back to me wanting to host a book club, I don't know. I think it would be fun to do book clubs. I kind of want to do it on Twitch. I personally don't really like YouTube streaming. I don't know. Let me know in the comments down below your personal preference. Do you ever use Twitch? Do you interact with Twitch at all? Are there any streamers on Twitch that y'all follow? Or do you prefer YouTube streaming? Because I would do either or, but personally, I've just noticed that the live streaming element, I mean, Twitch is bread and butter. Like, that's what they do, and they do it really well over there. But if you mostly just hang out on YouTube, I completely understand that as well. However, y'all, we need to talk. First and foremost, we have not even an hour in for today. I don't know how I'm feeling about Magic for Liars. Like, it's getting to the point where in any other book I would be like salivating, gnawing at the bit for like what's happening. And this one I'm just kind of like, okay, I'm gonna finish this book. Realistically, I'm gonna finish it, but am I gonna enjoy it? That's a good question. Okay, y'all, we are chilling at a cool 1:45. I am not gonna lie with y'all. I had to hop into a meeting, so I paused the book with like not even 12 minutes left of listening time. Magic for Liars, man. I don't know what it is. Like, the storyline sure is interesting, but I just don't think it's for me. Like, unless something wild or crazy happens, I think this is like just a solid 3-star book for me. Two things. Raoul is involved, and so far it doesn't seem like he's involved at all, but you know, something can happen in 10 minutes. And number 2, we find out that Ivy, who is the non-magical sister of Ivy and Tabitha, we find out that she actually does have magical abilities. They just haven't been like obviously present her whole life. Like, I'm having a hunch that might be a thing. Anyways, I'm gonna go take the girls out because they are acting crazy. And then I will finish this book and let you guys know what I think. Are you begging? Hey, what? You weren't supposed to get up. You were looking so cute just laying there. I have food right there, which is why somebody is begging. I am checking in because I ended Magic for Liars at 2 hours and 2 minutes. And I'm not gonna lie, it's currently 6 o'clock. I am watching Below Deck and I filmed another video. I'm kind of not in the mood to read. Like, I have 2 hours and 5 minutes left of the day to read. I don't really want to start another audiobook. That's my big dilemma, because I do have this blanket that I really want to like get close to finishing. I want to get close to finishing this blanket. I'm very conflicted. Like, I want to work on that, which, I mean, I definitely could listen to an audiobook while working on that, but I also don't want to start an audiobook. I don't know. But if you guys don't hear back from me for the rest of the day, just know we didn't reach our goal. Hey, this is your reminder to drink water. We are here to talk about how I miserably failed at reading my 4 hours and 7 minutes yesterday. Today, here's the thing. Remember how we said no rollover minutes for like extra hours we read? Well, I am gonna roll over minutes for hours we didn't read. But that's like extra bonus points for that next day. It's not like a requirement. It's just a, can you do this? Without the additional 2 hours and 5 minutes, today we are supposed to read 4 hours and 23 minutes. However, with yesterday's bonus minutes, we are reading 6 hours and 25 minutes. I do have the audiobook for Fahrenheit 451, which I do want to tackle. It is, I think, like a 4-ish hour, like it's over 4 hours. And y'all, if I'm gonna read it sped up, like maybe 1.2. maybe. We'll see how his pacing is. I listened to chapter 1 already, and it's good pacing. It's good pacing just at like regular speed. No speeding it up whatsoever. A lot of time, the reason why I speed up audiobooks isn't because I'm like trying to finish them faster, but it's because like the pacing is very slow. And I'm just like, okay, let's pick up the speed a little bit. It's only Wednesday. It feels like a Thursday. Let's finish our water and start a book.
Outside light. He pulled out his igniter, felt the salamander etched on its silver disc, gave it a flick.
Okay, y'all, we need to chat. I'm an hour and 5 minutes into today's reading. I hopped on here because I have to tell you that I did change my rating for Magic for Liars. So yesterday, I left it at like a strong 3. I was like, this is a solid 3-star book. And then literally I was laying in bed last night, kind of just like, I don't know why. I wasn't intentionally mulling over my rating, but I was mulling over my rating, and I decided it's definitely like a 2.5. I don't know, like, I don't think I'm gonna really remember that book. And I really just did not like the ending. I actually kind of really hated the ending, and y'all know me. If there's a bad ending to a book could be 110% absolutely phenomenal all the way up until the ending, and if the ending leaves a bad taste in my mouth, I will judge the entire reading experience on that ending. And I just kind of hated the ending, and not to be like, this is spoilery-ish. I'm not going to tell you what happened, but pretty much it ended with no actual resolution. Did we find out who did what? When, where, how, why? Yes. But there were no consequences to those actions. And that's what I hate, because I like justice. I want the person to either die or go to jail. I need justice when it comes to mysteries. And there was no justice. Oh, Echo, that was so close! Oh, baby. Oh! Come here, baby girl. What you say? What you sniffing? What you sniffing? What you sniffing? Oh. Hello. So we are on location, my friend's backyard. Anytime they're out of town, they always invite us to come bring the girls and like use their yard, because apartment dwellers don't have yards. It's a gorgeous day outside, not too hot, but still sunny. And I decided to bring the girls to frolic in their yard and then also get in some reading. So I am still in the middle of Fahrenheit 451. I only got an hour and 5 minutes into it, and then I just took a break. But since we're on location, I figured I wanted to crack open a physical book and just read outside and enjoy the annoying next door neighbor yapping its little brain off. But we're gonna crack into Bad Summer, people. Do I think I'm gonna even make a dent in this? No, honestly, we're probably gonna be here for maybe 15 minutes and then leave, but it's really dependent on the girls' mood. One unfortunate thing though, my stopwatch reset. So we're gonna start a new stopwatch and just add that to the hour and 5 minutes that I had accumulated. So with all that noted, let's crack open Bad Summer, people by Emma Rosenblum. Woo! You probably can't see me right now. I'm going to bed. I'm calling it a night. I didn't hit my goal. We'll talk about it more tomorrow. Good morning, y'all. So, I did not reach my goal yesterday, unfortunately. I jotted down the times. I ultimately ended up reading for 2 hours and 41 minutes. And for just a reminder, I was supposed to read, like, my goal for that day was 4 hours and 23 minutes, and then my rollover stretch goal for the day was 6 hours and 25 minutes. So here's what we're gonna do. We have some options. Today's just straight up goal is 3 hours and 12 minutes. We have 2 stretch goals. We can do 3 hours and 12 minutes and just call it a day. We can do 4 hours and 54 minutes, so that would be just the addition of the time I did not read for Wednesday. Or we can have our super stretch goal, which is for 6 hours and 56 minutes, which is the time that I did not read for both Tuesday and Wednesday, tacked on to Thursday. Now, the way my brain has been braining this week, I'm just shooting for 3 hours and 12 minutes. And honestly, anything beyond that is like a pat on the back for me. What was I saying? What was I saying, Dinkies? I don't know. You need all the love right now? Right now? Yeah. What are you doing? Can I finish this? Can I finish this and then you can get more lovin's? Bad Summer People. Interesting start. I'm not sure how I feel about it, just like solely based on the prologue. Not sure how I feel about it, because there was one paragraph where it was explaining the little boy, literally prologue right off the rip, starts with this little kid finding a dead body. And the explanation was like, oh, he drove down this street and then this street. Like, there was a whole paragraph was just him explaining him driving down this street and then crossing this section and then doing this. And I'm just like, this is how the book's gonna be. I don't know. I don't need to know that Billy Bob down the street rode his bicycle down, the entire neighborhood to find the dead body. I just need to know that he found the dead body. However, Fahrenheit 451. Okay, here's the stick with Fahrenheit 451. I read it back in high school because it was a required read. I also recently picked it up within the past, I would say, 5 years, and I started it, but I'm 99.9% positive that I only got to the end of part 1 because it's split up in 3 parts. So there's part 1, 2, 3, and 3 being like the shortest part and 1 being the longest part. So I didn't recall anything after part 1. Do I know the gist about what this book is about? Yes. Do I know the minute little details? No. But I will say, so far in part 2, I really wish I had like a physical copy, because I just want to be annotating the bejesus out of it right now. It's having these so many great lines about just, like the preservation of books and how books are actually good for you, and just like how this world has succumbed to pretty much being glued to not like a TV necessarily, because if you've read Fahrenheit 451, you know that they literally have like these rooms with like each individual wall is like its own screen, but it's like an interactive, it's literally like TikTok drugs, where you like sit in your room, you have your little scripty script, and you can interact with whatever story is going on at 12 p.m. on a Monday. So if you truly want like a good, I would say quick dystopian book that seems a little too timely, Fahrenheit 451 so far is pretty good. Here's the shtick. I just finished Fahrenheit 451. I think I remember why I didn't really remember the ending of Fahrenheit 451, because it was so boring. Oh my god, y'all. Once we got into part 3, I was just like so bored, so tired. So here's the premise of the story, because I've realized I never actually told y'all the premise of the story. If you don't know what the premise of Fahrenheit 451 is, we live in a world where books, no bueno, not about that life. You own a book, you either got to turn yourself in or your shit's getting torched. Firemen are actual firemen in this world, where they will torch your collection of books and your house. So our main character, Guy Montag, I don't know why, but I keep wanting to call him Montague. It's not Montague. Guy Montag is a fireman, and he meets a young woman named Claire. And when I say young, she's like 16, 17 years old. And she starts, just kind of telling him about, I don't know, just like making him question things, because his whole life he's just kind of like done his thing and just kind of like assimilated himself into the world, because it's the world he's always known. And she starts like bringing up all these questions about, hey, we drive at 100 miles an hour and you see a blue blur and you think it's this, it's this guy, you see a green blur and it's grass, but do you ever take a second to just like appreciate the world for what it is? Anyways, then he has this wife. His wife is very assimilated into the world, and she just loves her TV shows. She loves her TV shows. She wants Guy to buy another wall so she can have a 4-wall complete 4D experience of her shows. Part 1, we're getting to learn the characters. We're getting to feel the world, what things are doing, how things are going. Part 2 is when Guy starts to, act on the questions that were popping up in part 1. And then part 3, how to explain it without, it's just boring. Part 3, Guy meets a bunch of other intellects who have also rebelled against the current standing of the world. And yeah, that part, I don't know why, but that part was just so boring, because you're like, part 1, you're getting to know everyone, building up like suspense. Part 2 is the best part in my personal opinion. Part 3 comes along and I'm just like, and I'm bored, which is so fascinating because he's finally done the thing. I think part 3 got a little too philosophical for me. I think it was getting very lofty, big brain thinking, which is why that's where I kind of disconnected from it. Whereas at least with part 1 and part 2, while yes, those elements were interwoven into the story, there was still like a substantial storyline and plot. Whereas part 3, it was just like big brain thinking. I am done with that. I gave it a solid 3.5. I think it definitely would have been a 4-star if it had a better ending to it. But we can't all be winners in this rat race of life. So it screams summer. It actually screams like the perfect transition from spring to summer, right? Because technically we're still in spring, but like I feel this is the energy we need after having 2 meh books. We need something fun and light and breezy. So, Polly Johansson has never put much stock in the idea of family. She has her long-term boyfriend, Declan, and beloved best friend, Gemma, and that's more than enough for her. Yet, one night, on a lark, she lets Gemma convince her to audition as a show on Swedish television where Swedish Americans compete to win the ultimate prize, a reunion with their Swedish relatives. Much to Polly's shock, her drunken submission video wins her a spot on the show, and against Declan's advice, she decides to go for it. Armed with her Polaroid camera, a beat-up copy of Pippi Longstocking, and an unquenchable sense of possibility, Polly hops on a plane to Sweden and launches into a contest with 7 other Americans, all under the watchful eye of a camera crew. At first, Polly is certain that she and her competitors have nothing in common besides their passports, and views their bloodthirsty ambitions as suspicion. Yet amid the increasingly absurd challenges, rowing from Denmark to Sweden in the freezing rain, battling through obstacle courses, competing in a pickled herring eating contest, Polly finds herself rethinking her snap judgments about her fellow countrymen. While her growing attachment to her Swedish roots increases her resolve to win the competition herself. Grappling with long-held notions of family, friendship, and love, not to mention her feelings for the distractingly handsome Swedish cameraman who's been assigned to follow her around, Polly starts to reconsider her past and rethink what she wants for the future. Cute! Also, fuck the boyfriend. You get this amazing opportunity and he's like, how about no? And I'd be like, how about bye? So yeah, I'm gonna try and find the audiobook for Big in Sweden, because this just sounds like a cute little romp of a time.
Like love and friendship and travel and pasta. I mean, pasta alone could, at which point they'd hang up. This particular number had a +46 at the front, which meant nothing to me except my enemies had grown more sophisticated.
Y'all, we have 6 minutes until we hit today's goal. So I think today we will possibly maybe get to the stretch goal number 1 of 4 hours and 54 minutes, but don't hold me to that, because to be so totally for real with y'all, if we hit 3 hours and 12 minutes, I'm so good. I'm so happy with that. Okay, Big in Sweden. This book, remember how when I read y'all the synopsis afterwards, I said, boyfriend, ew, gross, why is he telling her not to go? I fear I'm on Declan's side with this one because our main character, Polly, she is kind of full of herself, and I think in her like internal monologue, she thinks she's doing the right things, but externally, she's kind of one of those people that's just full of themselves and only really thinks about them and doesn't really think about other people. And I actually can sympathize with Declan because what ends up happening is Polly on like this random night with her girlfriend, they sign up for this reality TV show. Polly completely forgets about it, but then she's reminded when she gets a call being like, hey, we want to interview you. She's like, oh, that's right, I did sign up for that. Goes to the interview. After the interview and before she finds out she's been selected to be on the show, she tells Declan, and Declan is very much keeps to himself, he doesn't have social media. I think he's just more of like a chill, down to earth type of person. But he does have expectations that in his relationship, like there's proper communication happening. And Polly, she didn't tell him that she got the offer to actually be on the show. Like he knew about the interview, but he didn't know about the actual offer to be on the show. And she agreed to be on the show without even telling him, even though it's not like, yes, they're boyfriend, girlfriend, but they live together. They're in like they've been with each other. They're in a committed relationship. The reason they're boyfriend, girlfriend is he doesn't want to get married, which is totally chill and fine. You do not have to get married to people. You know, you're in a committed relationship. You're together. You're each other's family at that point. And like, she didn't even mention, hey, I really want to do this. She just said, I'm doing it, told him she's doing it. And there was no like conversation about it. And I can totally understand from his point of view of being upset about that, because it's like, okay, so you're just gonna be gone for how long? Like, you're not getting an income for that long. He's like, you're gonna be gone for a month. Like, I'm gonna be taking care of everything at home. Like, we couldn't have like even just a conversation about it. And I truly, genuinely want to believe that Declan would have had like a sensible conversation with her about it. Not that he wouldn't have let her go. Like, he wouldn't have said no, but I think genuinely just was like, you didn't even like talk to me about this. And so in that sense, I do understand why he was upset about it. And yeah, I'm not sure how I feel about Polly, because not only that instance, but there have just been some other instances about like her internal monologue that I'm just not really vibing with. She's not like the best POV for a main character, in my humble opinion. I know I started Bad Summer People yesterday. I don't know what I'm doing here. I don't know what I'm doing. We might juggle them. We might just stick with one or the other. But I've definitely made obviously more of a dent in this one, considering I'm 2 chapters into this. And that one I only read the prologue, which was literally like a page and a half. So I don't know. I'm just not vibing with Big in Sweden or Bad Summer People. Neither of them are really speaking to me. Also, I might just be lazy and I don't actually want to physically read anything right now. So I decided to hop on Libby and just like scroll their currently available audiobooks. And y'all, there was actually like a good selection. I thought it was going to be like a bunch of random books that I'd never heard of. Were there a bunch of random books I never heard of? Yes, but there are also some pretty popular books available for audio. So I scrolled through Libby, checked out a couple. Do I remember which ones I checked out? No. Yeah, I think I'm going to start one of those. I don't know if I'll start it tonight. I might. Y'all, listen. Luxaria released a feature-length film, and I want to watch it. I also need to finish the reunion for Summer House. Okay? And then tomorrow we'll start a new audiobook. Not sure again which one I want to start, but we'll start one of them. Ooh, 3 hours and 14 minutes. Suckers. 3 hours and 32 minutes. That is my goal this Friday. I've decided not to mess around with rolling over minutes, whether they're excess minutes or whether they're minutes I didn't achieve. I forgot that the last time I did this challenge, the whole reason I didn't want to bring rollover minutes into this challenge was because it just gets complicated. It just muddies the waters. And I think it's actually kind of good to be like, realistically, did I meet that specific goal for that specific day? So yes, I know we only have 2 more days left of the week, but for these next 2 days, we're just gonna read what we read. And if we reach our goal, great. If we exceed our goal, great. If we don't reach our goal, it's a learning lesson. The other day, I don't know what I was watching or what I was listening to, but someone was like, you know, this life is full of W's and L's, and that's wins and lessons. And I really love that. Oh my God, y'all, I was watching Ink Masters. There were 2 books that I was able to find on Libby for the audiobook version. I honestly forgot what the other one was, but one of them was One Perfect Couple by Ruth Ware. And I picked this one over the other one because the other one I didn't have like the physical book for. I love being able to kind of like reference what's actually happening in a book physically. But this morning we are going to continue working on this blanket right here and listen to One Perfect Couple by Ruth Ware. I go into One Perfect Couple cautiously. I've read one other book by her, which was Woman in Cabin 10. And my knee-jerk reaction for that one was like, oh my God, that was so good. I loved it so much. But then the more I sat with it, the more I didn't really love the ending in particular. Anyways, okay. I'm gonna drink my coffee and we are going to work on this blanket.
Carpet Nico, who was hovering behind my chair. Instead, the data definitely time. Reality TV. I won't get a chance like this again. You know, for fuck's sake, are you even listening to me? I'm really sorry, Nico. He moved to sit on the desk in front of me, holding out his list. His habit of convincing himself. But if I pointed any of that out, felt something inside me giving way, melting. The main thing was that Tony was long-con. He's and dice, and they'd all return 6s. To the top, Professor Bianchi said a little wearily to committee, but he show was. The one time I preferred to be.
I am an hour and 20 minutes into today. Flying by. Book so far, One Perfect Couple. Not 100% sure how I feel about it yet. It's kind of reminding me, oh my God, I can't remember the name of the book, but I read it 2 years ago and I actually really liked it, but it was also like this big. It was super quick. This is the book I'm talking about. It's kind of giving that same vibe, except it has more buildup in the sense of, with that book, they just kind of like jump straight into the reality TV show of it all. Whereas this one, we're getting so much more character background. And honestly, the way things are going right now, I don't think they're ever actually gonna get to the reality TV show filming portion of it. I don't think. Because, first and foremost, rewind. I didn't tell you guys what this book is about. So pretty much it's about this reality TV show where they take these couples, 5 couples in total, and it's kind of Love Island meets Survivor in the sense that they're doing challenges, and every single week, one contestant gets booted off the island. There's going to be recoupling ceremonies. The only thing is, like with Love Island, they all go in as singles. With this show, they're all going in as actual couples. So the drama of it all. So our 2 main characters, well, our main character and her partner, we have Lila and Nico. Lila is a scientist virologist and Nico is a wannabe actor. 28, been working at it for a while, has a crap agent, and he's finally given the opportunity to be on this reality TV show that has like no funding, hasn't been picked up yet. It's just like a test run pilot situation. And Lila's really catching on to the fact that it's like, yeah, they said something suspicious about it, sounding like it's not even like picked up by an actual network yet. Seems sus. Nico's like, this is gonna be my big break, and she wants to be that supportive girlfriend. So of course they go. They're from London, okay? and they flew to Jakarta, and then from Jakarta they are taking a boat to this like secluded island. And the reason why I said I don't think they're ever actually going to start the filming portion is because Ruth Ware has this habit of inserting time hop elements. So with The Woman in Cabin 10, we were getting like text messages, news articles, XYZ about things that were happening in the future, but then our main storyline was like present time. So this book, what we're getting are distress calls. So we have present time storyline, but then distress calls from the future. And the distress calls make it sound like their boat that was going to the island from Jakarta got stuck in a pretty gnarly storm, and there are a lot of people who are injured. We'll see what happens. I have 2 hours and 55 minutes on the clock right now. Y'all, oh my God, since I last checked in, I realized I haven't told you, shit went so... Oh my God, where do we... I don't even know if I'm gonna tell you what's going on, because I feel like that would spoil it, especially considering I just told you guys, like, my theory about the distress calls. Okay, well, I'm just gonna say this. They did make it on the island. They are on the island. But Nico and Lila... Let's just say that, like, pretty much the first good few chapters of the book, Lila kept saying that she felt like her and Nico's relationship was at a crossroads of, like, either they're gonna break up or they're going to, like, really commit and settle down and, like, get their shit together. Oh yeah. This is our final day of our screen to reading time challenge. And yesterday we exceeded our goal. It was 3 hours and 32 minutes, and we as in y'all were helping me. You were here for moral support. In my head, 3 hours and 32 minutes is what we were supposed to hit. We ended up hitting 3 hours and 57 minutes, so a 25-minute excess, which we love to see. However, y'all, I'm not sure how I'm feeling about One Perfect Couple. We are just shy of 50% of the way into the book, and here's my problem with it. It really reminds me way too much of... It reminds me so much of that book in, like, concept. Because, okay, here's the thing. I'm gonna spoil that book for y'all, even though I don't remember his name. What ended up happening was that the company that was hosting the reality TV show, the survival reality TV show, they ended up running out of money. So for some reason, like, the entire crew just left everything, because they literally had no money. So they're like, well, we're just gonna get out of Dodge. And so, like, the entire crew left, but they left the cast there. Now remember, it's a survival show, so the cast, like, didn't really have anything, and the crew were obviously there to provide any sort of medical aid, any sort of, you know, intervene if anything extreme happens. So unfortunately, in that book, what ended up happening was, I think 2 of the castmates ended up dying, and then 3 of them survived, but they had to go on this crazy long journey just to get out of the woods and, like, find some sort of resemblance of civilization. And they sued the shit out of the company that just, like, left them stranded. I fear that that's what happened with One Perfect Couple, because there's a lot of things alluding to this being a dodgy, not actually funded by an actual network yet, so it's very much like out of pocket. And yeah, it just seems dodgy, sketchy. So today we have 5 hours and 9 minutes of reading time to do. I mean, technically I can finish this book in that time, but the question is, do I want to? So yeah, I'm obviously gonna give this a little bit more time. It is split up into parts. So there's a part 1. I'm currently a little bit into part 2, and then there's part 3. So I think I'll make my decision once I finish part 2 if I want to continue on with this book. Or who knows, maybe I'll just get so sidetracked that I will finish the whole book. I don't know. Well, I was working on the blanket, but someone said nope.
Somebody said nope.
Hey, hi, listen. Is it 2:30 in the afternoon? Yeah, it is. Have you guys seen me start my stopwatch? No, you have not. Have I started a single book yet? No, ma'am. Listen, I had every intention. Walk to the craft store. Then I drove home. Then as soon as I got home from the craft store, there was a parade. So Echo and I went and watched the parade. Then I came inside. My favorite streamer was streaming, so I watched some of his stream. Then I decided to turn on Do We Know Them? Watch the girlies yap about some stuff. Then I just rolled into watching Chelsea. And then Robert Welsh, he's on the screen right now. That's how I'm spending my Saturday. Do I think I will even crack open a book, press play in Libby? Slim? To be so totally free with y'all, slim. But not impossible. If I don't see you again later today, I'll see you tomorrow morning. Well, y'all, failed miserably. Actually, no. I want to reframe the whole concept of this video, okay? I think like the whole purpose of a challenge is to see if you can do something. So the purpose of taking your screen time and replacing it with reading time is to see if you can do it. And I also want to kind of note the fact that doom scrolling or just being on your phone is a far more passive pastime, which I think why it's so easy for us just kind of all of a sudden be like, oh my god, I've been on my phone for 8 hours today. Whereas picking up a book or listening to an audiobook or even just like listening to a podcast, something that you really are sitting there processing, is a lot more engaging than just kind of like scrolling on your phone. I think it's valid to point out the differences of the two, and that passively just kind of scrolling on your phone, while yes, eventually you can get tired and bored of it and it can kind of feel exhausting, there is also a big difference between actively engaging with a book for 5 hours versus engaging with your phone for 5 hours. So let's talk about numbers and why I'm giving this little caveat right off the rip. So for Sunday, my screen time last week was 5 hours and 36 minutes. And I read for 6 hours and 2 minutes. A fun thing I want to do though is to see what was my screen time this week. Sunday of this week, it was for 4 hours and 26 minutes. And I do have something I want to point out about that number, but I want to go through the rest of the week before I talk about that point. So Monday, I had a screen time of 4 hours and 10 minutes. I had read for 4 hours and 10 minutes. And I had a new screen time of 4 hours and 19 minutes. Tuesday, I had a screen time of 4 hours and 7 minutes. My reading time was 2 hours and 2 minutes. And I had a screen time of 5 hours and 2 minutes. Wednesday, my screen time was 4 hours and 23 minutes. My reading time was 1 hour and 5 minutes. And I had a new screen time of 4 hours and 59 minutes. Thursday, my screen time was 3 hours and 12 minutes. I had read for 3 hours and 14 minutes, and my new screen time was 4 hours and 8 minutes. Friday, I had a screen time of 3 hours and 32 minutes. I had read for 3 hours and 57 minutes, and I had a new screen time of 3 hours and 51 minutes. And for Saturday, which was yesterday, I had a screen time of 5 hours and 9 minutes. I didn't read a single second yesterday, and I had a new screen time of 3 hours and 55 minutes. Now, let's hop back to Sunday, and I do want to point something out when it comes to screen time. So, as you can see on the screen here, Sunday had a large gray chunk. Now, when you look at the legend of what all the different colors mean, the gray chunk isn't noted at all. So I did a little Googling. What I found and what I think is accurate is that the gray time is your screen time, but you're not engaging with anything. It's just like your phone is open and it's unlocked, but nothing is really happening. Now I point this out because Sunday and Monday for sure, I had pretty large gray chunks. However, if you don't know, here's a little behind the scenes magic. I use my phone to record my videos. So if you look at Sunday's camera time, it's only noting 21 minutes. And I know for damn sure I was recording a lot more than just 21 minutes of footage. So I think a large majority of that gray scale is my camera time of me actively recording. The week prior, so the week that we were pulling all the times from, I wasn't recording anything, I wasn't filming anything. So that's kind of like a true and honest reflection of like Kayla just being on her phone for a week. And let me tell you, that's actually a pretty decent week. I have had some weeks in the past, I would say probably like a year ago, my screen times would be more in the 7-8 hours. But one thing that I actually thought was really kind of cool and interesting was that yesterday, Saturday, the day I wasn't reading at all, last week I had 5 hours and 9 minutes as my screen time. But yesterday I only had 3 hours and 55 minutes of screen time. And I think it was because I was actively engaging in something. So now while this challenge is specific to replacing screen time with reading, I think honestly replacing screen time with anything is productive, because yesterday I was predominantly working on the blanket for my niece, which by the way is still not done yet. I redid the trim on it. It's a whole debacle. We're just still working on it. You guys will probably see that blanket in an upcoming video once it's like completely done. I'll like show it off and be like, look at this gorgeous blanket. So I'm curious if you guys ever do this challenge, what you replace your screen time with. Is there any craft? Is there an activity, sport that you're replacing your screen time with? And also take into consideration, when I say screen time, I'm just talking about the screen time on my phone, because truly, honestly, I think when I'm just like on my phone, I'm not doom scrolling per se, but a lot of my time on my phone isn't necessarily productive time. What was I saying with that? I don't even know.
Editing Kayla knows what I was talking about. Pretty much I'm just saying that your phone screen time sometimes can be a little less productive, whereas if you're actively engaging in a podcast, a computer game, a TV show, for some reason in my brain that doesn't necessarily count as what most would consider screen time, quote unquote. I think oftentimes when we look at our screen time on our phone, your brain just automatically goes to, oh my God, how was I on my phone that long?
That's my week in a nutshell. I wouldn't say that this was a failed challenge. I think it's just kind of like a learning experience. So let me know in the comments down below what you would replace your screen time with if you were to do this challenge. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, and I will see you in the next one. Goodbye.